Greetings, mortals. I am Natus, the ruler of the underworld. The end of the week is here, so it's time to talk about the newest chapter releases. And let's start this week off with Shadow House chapter 199 titled Upbringing. So next chapter is chapter 200, and oh boy, are we setting up Shadow House's, I guess, final arc according to some of the people I've heard about. And it's gonna be a really a very big. It's gonna get really dark if this chapter is any consideration. But regardless, let's get into it. So we'll get to see just how dark the story is going forward. So we start this chapter off first telling us that Anthony's father. Just to be clear, I'm referring to him as Anthony because Christopher is the shadow, and that's kind of more gonna stick in your head. So it's best to just refer to him as Anthony for simplicity's sake, since we know the human more as Anthony than Christopher. So yeah. So we find out that before he went to his what was it called? His debut, or not debut? His what they are called. Well, whenever they are recruiting kids to come to the Shadow House, I think it's exam or something or selection. That before Anthony went there, his father died. We will see the grave. It's gonna come back at the end of the chapter. So, but before that, we start this off by getting kind of a status update on the characters, or at least on what Anthony's father, Alfred, I believe was his name, was doing before Anthony took over the plan and went to Shadow House. And that is, Anthony's father basically kind of made a group, a mirror family, uncreative, of course, where he basically recruited all the people who managed to escape with him from the Shadow House during the morph attack, as well as the people from a mining village that became obsolete once the Shadow House started producing coal and everything. So they were so their mutual interests aligned. They managed to come together and trying to take down Shadow House or expose them for frauds that they are and stuff like that. So they started their operation. And during this time when Anthony was on the world, the Mayo family basically had all their hopes and desires on Anthony because he was like the next generation, because he was the youngest there, and the fact that they trained him from very young to be able to handle all this. Like we have him be like, I think 10 years old, maybe older. Him and some other guy like climbing the walls of the mountain to like get the idea to see how to get like I guess the bell layout of Shadow House from the outside. So yeah, and we also find out that during this time they were sending kids on these into these selections to get into the Shadow House so they could infiltrate and find stuff out, because when you have people sending, because when you have people recruiting children, you can kind of get if you want to spy on the house, you will have an easier time getting people in it if they are already selecting it. Like even if they refuse one group of kids, there will be another group of kids that's gonna be selected. And yeah, because they had no idea on what exactly about the brainwashing and all that stuff that the Shadow House does. So to them, it was like, oh, simple. Let's send a kid and they'll get us information and bravo to us. They didn't think, they would have something in place to make sure that doesn't happen. So yeah, they had tried to infiltrate it from that process, but it never really bear fruit. As soon as the kids went there, they lost information. They just kind of went there and never came back. And there's also, I think there's a mention in this chapter that around the time where Anthony was born, a little bit after, or generally around that period, is when the selection started. Which, alright, the timeline is a bit hazy now because like we're talking, like I think. Like there's a big, there's like a big haze because I believe Kate was like was like 50 years in her cocoon, yet I think now she's supposed to be in like 13 years old. Like apparently when you it's I'm not certain if it was said beforehand, but it's stated there in this chapter that once you turn 13, that's where you can apply to go into the shadow house. So I'm gonna guessing this was like about it was, I think it also states in this chapter that he is kind of running out of time for how much he can false his age. So and characters like Edward are. I think it's there that Edward is younger than 30, because I think like Candy is supposed to be like 30 something or 33. Again, I don't remember exactly at the top of my head how old Candy is supposed to be, but we know that she's older than Anthony. Well, she's older than Edward, and if Anthony was pushing his was pushing the age limit or his patent age, then we can assume that there was. Alright, short story. Before Kate was actually born, before that she probably did not. Anthony, I think like 10 years before that or some period around that. That's when Anthony and this whole thing is taking place. So yeah. But anyways, as Anthony and another member of the Mirror family are kind of like scooping the area, and once that guy is recovering, then Anthony's kind of checking around to see if there's like any ladder, but as they kind of guess, there is none. So climbing with your bare hands is basically the only way you can really enter Shadow House so, from the unofficial routes. As then that other guy who's with Anthony right now is kind of starting to like realize that it's kind of helpless to fight against Shell House, because like Shell House keeps itself so well secured and so well hidden that they can't really like, it's really difficult to get to them from a normal person's perspective, especially when you consider they have morphs and all those types of creatures. So what can they even do to fight against them? So it's like you can't really fight, so they can't really fight back in any way. It's sort of like, the years are coming, our plans failed, and just in general, we are not progressing. And this guy, while he doesn't say they should just quit, while he doesn't say that anything like, mean to Anthony, that he's stupid, you're just a child or anything, it's like more like, Alfred is getting on in years, so he'll probably not live much longer, or more likely, or something on the lines of, his food is already in a grave, and all of our attempts failed, so it might just be best if we just quit while we still have our lives, sort of deal, and just try to like minimize the damage that's already been done to them. But Anthony views that as an insult, so when he and the guy who finally recovered his stamina decide to go down, Anthony takes out that little, like, I think the little tool that's for climbing, like, to I think, carve in a bit of the stone so you can put, like, the step with the rope or something for climbing. Like, he pulls that out and, like, it chucks at a bit at that place where that guy was going to have to come down to when he was climbing down to, so it would crack when he stepped on it, and then he would fall down, and then he would hurt his leg, and probably I'm guessing that Anthony just left them there to die as he laid there, or maybe to take him out or completely. I'm not, or maybe so he would have to abandon him. I don't know. It's not really clear what happened to this guy. All we know is that he fell down, hurt his leg somewhere, and he was like on a ledge and he was holding his leg. So I'm not entirely certain if this guy was just left there. If we were just left there, or if this guy's gonna come back or what. But regardless, the main point of this is to show just how ruthless Anthony was. That even someone just pointing out they can't really fight back is already enough for Anthony to give like a death sentence, basically, slow and painful one at that. Because remember, like, this guy isn't like, assuming they were like in the middle of that mountain they had to climb, or climb or I'm at least assuming that was the male. It did look like there was still some ways up. This guy was either going to have bled to death because of his hurt leg, and they would probably not be able to recover him from it, or he would just die of lack of food. So yeah. So yeah, it shows us that Anthony was twisted even since like a little child. Because remember, this is like before he even was able to be even 13. So yeah. Anyways, then we have them finally getting as then we have Anthony just while he's like climbing down, probably by the guy. He explains that he basically gives us his views on the Allies, and it's basically like, if you can't serve me, then you're useless to me, and practically that. And the story from that moment onward, that or at least the story that he told everyone else, was that he just fell down and hurt his leg and died. Now, again, even if he said, oh, he fell down, hurt his leg, we need to go help him, there was probably nothing they could have done against them. Or, well, to help him or save him or anything. So, yeah, the guy is. So, yeah, the guy is doomed. So, after after this event, they finally managed to get some information from the Shadow House because for starters, they realized that there's a brainwashing involved because Anthony said there was like a little trouble with brainwashing that one guy, like one kid, which makes me wonder who that kid was. I don't want to say that, like that's the kind of hard thing to really like grasp and how like I'm not sure this guy who's referenced as how to brainwash is gonna come back into play or if he's just was just killed off or what happened exactly. Because like Shadow is like one of those series that you have to kind of take everything someone says and you kind of like half-assed match of a character could lead into things. So I do honor this kid who was hard to brainwash is going to be revealed to be one of the third floor residents. I mean, chronologically, I think would make sense. I mean, we're talking about a kid who's older than Anthony, who's already pushing his age lock, and the characters and the Shadow House residents, and Edward is younger than 30, so yeah, we are kind of in that like age. So it does make kind of wonder this guy will be revealed to be something, but it doesn't really matter right now because what matters right now is the fact that they got some information and they got out like the layout and then this and the how they brainwash and with the coffee and all that. But unfortunately, right after that one fruit they finally managed to receive from the kids they were sending there, it went completely dark again. So essentially, it's helpless, and a lot of the people now pretty much think it's helpless. Like we don't have it stated if they are still allies or not, or if everyone just like it's helpless. We can't do. We're just losing kids at this point. But regardless, we know we. I kind of would not be surprised if after this information they would just decide to quit, but we don't really know. All we know is that when Anthony now mentions the whole his age, how he needs to push it, how he needs to go, like he tells his father that I can only fake my age so much until so it can be believable as Anthony's like a lot taller, which is kind of funny how Anthony says that he can only fake his age so much, considering the fact that, at this point, I feel like Anthony should probably look a bit older. Like, Anthony looks very young for someone could very likely be in his early 30s. Again, I'm not interested in the ages, but I'm pretty sure that Edward's supposed to be younger than 30. So, a character who's very likely 31, 32, like, probably the same age as Candy, honestly. It's kind of fun, and he still looks the same. Makes me kind of wonder if there's some kind of thing that he did before, if there's some kind of review going to be the how he's keeping himself so young looking. But regardless, Christopher says that he can only fake it so much, so he thinks that this is the time to go. I'm assuming this means that Anthony is like 15 when he left, or 16 or 17 or something like that. Maybe 18 if you want to really push it. But regardless, father tells him that it's time that we stop. It's hopeless. Like, we're not succeeding, we're not progressing, we are not. Even the final information that we managed to find out basically just informed us of why there has been no information. So it's best that they just abandon the whole thing and just go focus on living their lives the way they did. As Alfred tells Anthony that no son can send his kid to something that he's certain is deaf, so he hugs him and tells him to just live his life. And Anthony snaps basically. It was kind of, you could probably debate how much of a snap if he was crazy beforehand, but now he fully goes crazy because now he starts to kind of insult his father and everything about like how his father is too nice. You were too nice and too gullible, too trusting, and we lost the Shadow House. And all because you had to trust Uncle Alfred. The same goes for my mother. You had to have waited so long until it was basically impossible for her to survive giving birth to me, and now she died. It was always your fault. Now you're just quitting it, even though you raised me from the beginning to take back the shadow, to take back our manor, take back this iron, take everything back. And then Alfred is kind of shocked. It's difficult. Alfred doesn't really have much of a reaction. I guess maybe he's more like realizing how this sounds. It was probably like one of those things where like you realize how bad that sounds, but you can't really argue back. So Alfred is a little quiet, but then Anthony starts rationalizing what his father said in a different manner, as in, "Oh, you tested my determination to confirm that I am willing to take back the house. That makes way more sense." As Alfred tries to like, wait, I'm not testing your determination, but Anthony with a big smile says, "Oh, don't worry, that's not an issue." As he then pulls out a knife. I guess he was already kind of planning on killing his father before this even happened. Like, that's the thing. I would not be surprised if Anthony was already kind of like, or basically was like, "All right, if you don't love me this time, I'm going to kill you." So it does make kind of wonder there was always his plan in this meeting, but Alfred said this, so now he's even more willing to kill him immediately. So he grabs his followed by I think he's grabbing him by the throat, and then he like stabs into his father as his father like, how could you? And his father dies because again like he was advanced aged, he was really old at this point, and now Anthony just immediately went for like the gut stab. I don't think he stabbed him in the heart. I think it was more in the stomach area, but you know you gut stabbed him in the gut, and you know, and he bled out and he died. Referring to the beginning of the chapter where it was said that the day that I believe it was the day that Anthony went to his election, his father died. So the reason why is because he killed him so he could get to the selection. So yeah, Anthony is just a twisted guy. Like previously, you could probably have like debated if how much of it was determination, how much it was, you know, general evil, and this time it's just evil. Like this guy is twisted, and you get the idea. Like Anthony was a child who was told that he has to do this great thing, and he was always told that he owns this. So it makes sense in his mind that what he's doing is necessary and he must do it because he is special. So in this instance, he just took basically whatever he was taught and decided to go forward. And we are still going to be continuing the flashback, so we're going to be more of his rationality. And now we're going to also, and this is like everything we know of Anthony before before the whole house thing, which now is a question about exactly what his mindset was doing his time in Shadow House when he was, you know, in that whole protection, when he was, you know, but have to pretend to be a living doll, but that's for the next chapter to answer. So yeah, this is a very twisted chapter of Shell House. So let's go into something a little more harder, which is "Tis Time for Torture Princess," chapter 237, titled "Torture 237." So we start this chapter off with Princess and Axe reminiscing in their time in the being prisoners, as they are like, "Wow, it's been 1 year since we were in prison and locked up," because you know this time they actually acknowledge the fact that the time well, the time was changing, which is something that these shows rarely do. So yeah, and all the delicious food that Princess ate, and then she comes up with an idea that, oh, since we spent so long here, maybe not they'll have to start reusing food, but this time it will not taste as good as the first time, so I will not have to be, so I have no secrets to give. Which, to be fair, at this point I feel like you might just be running out of secrets rather than anything else. But regardless, Prince Axe is kind of doubting that idea, and even if Princess is like, wait, no, you're right, I probably would give it, even if it's the same food. But then Torture shows up and so don't be absurd, Princess. You and me both know that you can handle repeat food usage. There's no way you would submit to me even if we use the same food. As then they try it, they select some random food. I think it was like chapter 49 or whatever repeat. I think it meant to be like some thing that doesn't even stick into your head. It's like something you probably only hear in like cooking manga and manga that go through a lot of food, but no one really like people rarely uses them either themselves on a regular basis. So she gave her that food, and they start submitting, and to that even Torture is surprised to think that they managed to make her could so submit that she would actually give secrets of effortlessly, this effortlessly, even if it's like the same food that's not even that special. So yeah, even Torture is shocked by it. As then Princess sees how shocked and sad Torture is about this revelation, and then she tries to resist the desire to submit, and saying that she would rather not eat the same food over and over again than to ruin our friends' expectations. Since even Torture was like she had enough hope that the princess would not submit to it, but no, she did submit, so there is like no hope whatsoever. But this time princess is gonna stick her ground and not submit. As Torture is very touched by this, but then Torture does the little mistake about giving something extra to make the food taste better, and Princess submits again because these two are experts at their jobs. Well, not exactly Princess's job is submitting, but more or less it's submitting daily. So we get another Princess confesses story and all that, and at least this time it's not. At least this time they add something new to it. So yeah. Anyways, now with our moods a bit lighter, let us go into some more good balance between these stories, and that is of course Fortnite into the Apocalypse chapter 157 titled Lives Pulled Together. Ironically, the main characters only meet one other of the 4 nights, so it's not really an accurate title, but whatever. So we start this chapter off with Percival's group being transported to Camelot, with Tennis making the portal and everyone talking, and Meliodas, Guildfounder, and Hauser seeing them off since they're gonna be going to look for Tristan's platoon and Gawain. So they wish them best of luck, and Percival to him and Guildfounder Hauser does admit that he trusts they'll be able to pull this through and that he believes in Percival. And he does make a little comment about how he first met Percival, but this time he's fully convinced that he can believe in Percival. So yeah, as then Teniac sends Percival and his platoon to Camelot. And when he gets, and some people question like how is Nauseance able to get there, because Nauseance is very much a half fairy, half giant, as it was confirmed in the last arc. So why is he able to get in? And the best way I can explain this, and the explanation most people seem to be going with, is that when Arthur was making this restriction so only humans can get into Orzet, he didn't really plan for hybrids to get into it. So the hybrids have a free pass, similar way to how Gopher, being a doll, can kind of get into it even though he's not a human. So it's kind of similar logic here. So that's kind of the explanation. I think that is gonna be explained the volume. Like Nakaba is going to match it. Well, yes, you see, since Nozan's a hybrid, there's really no way for them to, you know, for Alpha to know how to like keep them away. So hybrids are able to bypass that because of this like little trickery. Or maybe there's gonna be some other revelation. Like maybe it's also gonna be revealed like maybe because this is a port that was created on Behemoth, it's able to be accessed by more people. Again, it's kind of difficult to really say because his restriction really limits to how many captives can go there. I mean, there was already flaws with this portal beginning with, since like Bond should be able to get into Camelot, no biggie. Yet for some reason he doesn't seem to be planning on getting into it, even though he should by all accounts. But regardless, not the entirety of Team Percival can go there. And this time, when they enter Camelot, they end up in this like little pool which is just surrounded by portals to different parts of Camelot. Not entirely certain if this is supposed to be like where they are always teleported to, or if this is just a random location in Camelot. But regardless, they are teleported there, and while they are standing this like little piece of land, they are trying to guess where to go, and we finally get a bit of an explanation of what exactly is the situation. It's, there's a bit of an inconsistency going on here with like Tristan going missing and Chia and Soldier looking for him, Gawain not being mentioned at all in the entire post time skip, and now he makes it sound like, in the last chapter it was made it sound like even Chia and Soldier were missing. So it's kind of a big what the heck is going on situation, and this chapter we find out that Tristan went on his own, Gawain, Isolde, Chion went after him, and they all entered Camelot, and then they all split up, and they have no idea, which, fine, I'm okay with this explanation, but I do have to wonder, why did they not mention Gawain at all? Because it makes it sound like Gawain being in this like group that went into it was kind of a like last second decision by the author. Like, he had no idea where to place Gawain, so he instead just decided to, you know what, I'm not gonna have her be somewhere else, I'm not going to reveal that she's been like the only knight of prophecy who's actually been doing anything for Britannia, I'm not going to have her just be connected, I'm just going to have her also go into Camelot and be way forbid, which honestly that's kind of sound like bad, which honestly does make me feel bad for Gawain, and the fact that she kind of seems like an afterthought for Nakaba at this point, because like something that a few weeks someone made, I think it was like I think it was before the ending of the forest fairy forest arc, is that someone was counting how many panels characters have, and they realized that Gawain and Chion and Isolde basically had like this almost the same number of panels. Like there's just like a few panels that Gawain had more than the other two. And considering the fact, and that probably came from the fact that she had a few more of her own story like going on in the Demon Warlock when she confronted the Chaos Knights on her own, and the little fight she had with Like that's pretty much the only reason why she has a bit more panels than Chion. Yeah, actually no, yeah, that and probably the Battle in Lyones. Like those are like the 2 times where she's like, well, technically 3 times, but let's be honest, so it's 2 times where she's actually had more of her own thing going on. So it's kind of funny to think that go how much of an afterthought it is. But regardless, we'll rectify this in this this part of the story, because spoilers, we get to see Gawain in this chapter and whatever stage she's in. So yeah, we have the entire team Trista platoon went dark. Now I don't know if this means that all the Trista platoon is in different parts of Camelot, if this just means that they are all or if they are all or if except for Gawain all the others together, we don't know, but I'm assuming it's gonna be revealed in a couple of chapters. So yeah, Anyways, then we have Percival like looking around a bit. I'm assuming that he's communicating with the life spirits that are in Camelot, as they told him where Gawain is. So he grabs everyone. Like he basically does that like cool badass like holding your woman kind of thing with Anne. Tells Nazians to fly behind him, and then grabs Donnie by his hand. He just flies up in the air as they are kind of shocked why he thinks that, as Percival explains that it's the life spirits, and they fly up there with them being like, oh, so that's also how you know things, like about things that were going on while you were away, that you were just communicating with the spirits to learn everything. Which is kind of like, there's also a little joke about how he basically can take away everyone's privacy, but he says that he's just general, like he doesn't know specifics. All he generally knows is like, this life spirit is telling him Gawain's this air is through this portal, so he's gonna go through this portal. I'm guessing this also means that they'll be entering that prison from, or at least confirming if Percival, if Tristan's platoon is in that prison they were thinking that they were locked up in. So yeah. Anyways, Percival's platoon goes through that portal, and when they enter a place, a little like an apple tree farm or whatever those places are called that grow fruits, as they are immediately confronted by a man holding a scythe, which just reminds you that despite Percival being supposed to be the full knight of Dab, that he doesn't have a scythe. It doesn't seem like he's even going to be growing into a scythe, but regardless, he's then confronted by them, ask them who they are and everything, as the characters are obviously concerned about that. As Percival is like completely chill about this situation, which is kind of part for the course about this in this post-time series. Percival, he seems to be. It's not like he's less childish or less aware. It just seems like he's more kind of calm about the general situations, as he's less like concerned about this guy seeing them and confronting them, more like, "Ooh, you have nice apples, sir," as he's enjoying them. The apples are made with love and care. As this guy's like, "All right, it's actually just a hobby. It's nothing. I'm not actually trying to be some kind of achievement. It's just supposed to be something to pass the time here." But regardless, he gets complimented while everyone else is a bit concerned, a bit more like, shit, Percival, if he finds out we're in trouble, as Percival even reveals. Like, he gives his name, he gives his title, he gives everything to this guy, and he's like, seriously? As this guy then is just like, you guys, I see. As I think he just throws his scythe down and tells them to follow him. Because I think Percival states that he's looking for Gawain and all that, so they kind of go as they are following him, because legitimately what else can they do? And I mean, if he's gonna go away from them, he'll probably contact the rest of the Chaos Knights and they'll be swarmed by them, or he's just going to be or it's like one of those things where regardless of how you look at it, you're going to get swarmed by Chaos Knights, so you might as well just play along for now. So they go behind this guy as they enter his house, which is basically a giant ship, and at the mast, I think that's what's called, like that giant stabber that you have, that the lookouts usually are at. You have that on that stabber, there are a big like a little. It's not going to say if it's little or big, because it looks like it's your regular. I would say it's about a size of a village. Or a bit of a village or something like that, and that's on the top of that stabber of the giant or colossal ship. So it seems like they're in that category, in that place, or maybe this is supposed to be on the ship and they travel, and there's like a portal that allows them to teleport to the top of it. Well, regardless, they go into into the house that's on this land, as. Then they ask who this guy is, as he reveals that he's Key Pendragon. I think it's Kai Pendragon, Arthur's adopted older brother that we I think only saw in a side story in Saturday Sins beforehand. And to be fair, he kind of grew up into a pretty like decent looking guy. Like he just has more like I think in the I think in the side quest, he was kind of in the side story. He was kind of like that usual depiction of a douchey older brother kind of character design, but now he kind of looks like a more a more well groomed elder man, like a bit more like dignity and style, and just like okay, this guy definitely grew up in better way than how he was when he was a child. So he tells them his name. He tells his relation to Arthur, so there's like no question about it's just the same name. And the characters are like, wait a minute, if you're Arthur's brother, wouldn't that make you Gawain's? As then he immediately knocks on Gawain's door. He's like, Gawain, you have some people here that want to see you. As then Gawain gets like that that joke that is sometimes in TV series and adult cartoons and just in general, where a captain knocks someone's door and then the captain is doing something that they need to immediately clean up and get ready for. Like she has kind of that joke with her, and she's like, "Oh, I'll be there in a minute. 5 seconds, please." And she's like, it sounds like she spilled something. As she opens the door, opens the door and asks what's up, what is the matter, and then he's like, some people have come to see you. As we see Gawain, or at least what we can assume is Gawain, in a very elegant a little lady outfit with a very kind of like more done up hair. And I'll be telling us, I'm not a fan of this drawing because because Gawain kind of looks weird in this outfit. Like, I don't know if it's like these old-fashioned clothing of the time period that Four Knights is supposed to be placed in terms of like real world. But this outfit makes her look weird. Her hat feels too big. Her hand feels like it just kind of looks misshapen a bit. But it might just be sort of like one of those things where Nakaba is not able to complete the artwork completely, or maybe it's like intentionally done to look a bit weird. Because like this is a very weird thing, because remember, Gawain is more of a tomboy womanizer, not a regal little lady here, like she is shown in this chapter. So votes are in. Is Gawain brainwashed? Is this some kind of illusion? Is this someone else? Is Gawain pretending to be this way because because she doesn't want her father's reaction, because that's kind of thing that was beforehand. Like before this chapter, the relationship we kind of were supposed to be implying from Gawain and her father is that there's a more of an abusive kind of relationship. It's sort of like yes, Gawain can beat her in a fight, but her father like mentally scares her. So it's kind of a question about. So it's kind of a weird thing when in this chapter he kind of seems to go a similar route to Pelgard, while previously it kind of made him look like he was going to be more of an Ironside sort of character. So it's kind of a weird thing. Maybe it's like an in between those two that the Nakaba is going for, but regardless, right now Gawain is just in a very weird state, and I'm assuming it's going to be revealed in the next chapter what it is. Is it brainwashing, and why exactly Kai is so cooperative with everyone? But regardless, we'll find out about that. So, yeah, that's the end of this chapter of Four Knights, and we now just have to wonder what's gonna happen in the future. And then we have, next we have One Piece chapter 1120 titled Atlas. So I guess we can all expect Atlas to die now. At least that's what I'm expecting is going to happen to Atlas this chapter. And I don't think I'm wrong about that. Now, we start this chapter off with a flashback to Vegapunk and Clover's, I don't want to say first meeting, but one of their meetings, or the meeting before Clover died, because he was coming to Vegapunk while he was on Punk Hazard to ask him to help them decipher the history, and Vegapunk pretty much is very clear to him like, no, I'm not doing that. Which is also supposed to kind of explain, because I think this is also meant to give us more of an idea about their relationship, because I believe the first time I think we learn about Clover's connection to Vegapunk was also his reaction to Clover and people on Oha's death. So in this chapter, we kind of get more of an expansion on this about their connection, and not much, but it's like Clover was aware of well, Vegapunk was aware of Clover, and he didn't want to help him, and generally they were talking about stuff and telling him that he's a government man. He's not doing it. He's not gonna be researching it. Kind of finds it the whole thing kind of stupid. Why would he even want to research it? Like, what does the past mean? And Clover kind of tries to appeal to Vegapunk's emotions a bit, as he's like, you know, because Vegapunk was much like Clover's life is kind of a shitstorm when you really think about how he's like captured by the government multiple times, and Vegapunk even tells him. I'm assuming the reason why Vegapunk is even cooperating here is the fact that if he refuses enough and tells him to stop doing it, it's not really a bad thing that he's refusing. That he is being told to do it, but he's actually refusing. It's kind of like, that's idle work there, Vegapunk. Keep this up. I honestly wouldn't be even surprised if after this meeting, Vegapunk was like, yes, yes. Oh, by the way, you got in contact. Some of our man told us that you got in contact to Clover. Yeah, you told him you're not. Good, good. That's ideal work. We just need to like generally just stand question to the fact that you are aware that you shouldn't be doing stuff like this. So regardless, he basically tells Clover that he's not doing it. He's not cooperating. He is just going to be. He tells Clover again to stop doing it. You are just gonna put people in danger if you keep researching. And it's that danger that actually is kind of what spurs Clover into trying to keep wanting to research the history even more so, because he reveals to us that his elder brother, who we find out in this chapter, Clover's elder brother was a D, and he is D as well. His real name is Cloudy Clover. So there's a bit of a question why we're being revealed that Clover is the D, but regardless, it's basically meant to be like a kind of motivation, because like the government killed him for researching, and during that time, the reason why Clover didn't get in trouble was because when they killed Cloudy, Clover said, no, no, he's just a fan. He's just a guy who I was friends with, nothing else, even though he was his brother. So after that kind of moment, I kind of sparked the fire in Clover to research more, and he also states something about the voices of the past are screaming for someone to listen to them. Is this the voices of all things? Is this something more? Is this like a unique thing that the D clan has? Like the thing, I don't really comment about stuff like these because like that's like we don't really have any kind of good grasp on what exactly this means. Is it mean literal? Is it being figurative? Is this the truth? Is there some kind of like connection? We don't know until like it's fully explained. It's like I would not be surprised if there is some kind of voice that's screaming from the past that they're able to hear, but just like I can't really comment much about it. But regardless, Vegapunk still says no. He should just quit while he's ahead and goes back into his laboratory because again, like Vegapunk is not gonna be taking side with this. As then we cut back to when after the Oha incident, as we get like more of an inner monologue from Vegapunk. Like previously, we had like I believe when we first saw this part of the flashback with Vegapunk, it was more of a was more like him being like, "You did a great job. You got a W here because you managed to keep the whole thing. You managed to keep the history and all that out there." You saved the history basically, but now we have a more of an inner monologue from Vegapunk as Vegapunk is starting to cry a bit. It's like, why would anyone want to research this past anymore? Of the I mean, these consequences, the people that do it are so grim and gruesome. As he's like, questioning it because this is kind of like what he does. Like he questions why would someone be stupid enough to do it, and this time despite his bad judgment, he still does look into it. He still does start researching it. He still gets in trouble. So it's kind of like he's questioning why he's being motivated. He's questioning why he's now being motivated to research it. It's probably meant to be like a thing because he knew who Clover was. So because he had more of a closer relationship between him and Clover, probably meeting them in their younger years, I would imagine that Clover and Vegapunk probably worked together beforehand. Maybe there was like an archaeologist thing, or like maybe be some information that Clover found out about the history. Vegapunk found out and managed to create future or whatever, or managed to like create a future equipment or something. But regardless, Vegapunk is regretting his decisions and is now taking the burn that he told Clover to stop. So yeah, that kind of gives us a bit more of an idea of Vegapunk's character and his motivations to that come to this degree. Then we cut back to the present as we didn't have the Straw Hats planning to leave, but Lilith is kind of being a little bit of a burden here because she doesn't want to go onto the ship. She's at the deck of the ship, but if she were to blast off right now, she'll just let go. The force will just force her down, and she would fall on and die. But and they don't want to do that, so they're telling her to just get on the ship as Lilith explains to them they can't leave because this and this and this science thing. Like she didn't even need like a little representation about like why they must not leave right now because if Nose Joe shows up, like Nose Joe is a bit away right now, so it's not like immediate danger. So like the bigger danger would probably be like getting away from him immediately, but even he can do just like any slight movement from Nina's Joe could end up completely destroying their path. But while they are talking about this, Lilith, I guess, notices something behind her as Atlas shows up, punches her in the face, and knocks her into the underground. And then, to a point that she's actually bleeding a bit, as then Atlas. I'm not sure what he does. I'm not sure if she rips a cord or if she presses a button or something. Basically, she cuts Lilith's signal from the punk records, and so to York and to the elders, Lilith is that, which seems to be the case that they seem to be believing it. But again, we'll talk about it later in the chapter. But guys, I was sure it's like, why did you attack Lilith? What's going on? What are you doing? Also, but all Atlas says is like, take care of Lilith for me, and I'll deal with the distraction as she goes towards Venus Joro. As Nami just tells him, grab Lilith! Left because Lilith's on the on the other side, currently unconscious and needing, I want to say medical help, but I feel like until Frankie shows up, she will not be able to be repaired. Well, at least her face. Well, I mean, remember, Lilith, from what we've seen, Lilith doesn't have a combative body. Like, it seemed like Atlas was the only one that was, like, built for combat. So it's kind of like a weird thing where, like, Lilith can't really fight back, so her damage is real. So, yeah, Lilith had to be put to sleep. I'm assuming that she'll spend the rest of the arc asleep. But, anyways, then we have Atlas, like, grabbing being Venus Jaw as Zoro cuts her arm off, but she's able to pull him away a bit. As then we cut back down to the shipyard as we have Luffy and MF meeting, and MF refers to Luffy as Joy Boy, but Luffy has no idea who Joy Boy is. As M tells him, "That's you!" As Luffy is a bit confused about it, but he just kind of goes along with it. Like Luffy was already a very go along with for the ride kind of situation, so he doesn't really know what that means. And now he is even more so because of the Nika Nika fruit, which I think he's even kind of like this during this chapter. But regardless, MF is just kind of happy. Just kind of talks about stuff that are, to Luffy they don't really mean anything. They are kind of like this. I mean, I guess I'm similar to this Joy Boy fella because, like, that's the thing. Of all the characters, Luffy has like no idea who Joy Boy is. And I'm assuming people are gonna explain to Luffy who Joy Boy is and why he's such a big deal to everyone. But as it stands, Luffy has no idea. All he knows is that MF is saying that he's going to like help Joy Boy one more time and help him escape. As then we have Jupiter attacking MF as MF tries to blow him up or send lasers at it. As then we have Sanji thanking Luffy as well, like make super excited about that. But then MF's body, because MF is like 9,900 years older, the bare minimum, and he was, still for so long, his body's kind of extremely rusted, so all of his like long range weapons are useless right now. So, so MF's just gets eaten by Jupiter, which he finally accomplished something. Which, funny enough, even though in this chapter Jupiter actually starts accomplishing stuff and actually starts talking a bit and actually actually starts like speaking, because something that's been brought up by Morsh when he's like why Jupiter is gonna betray Emu's video. He states that Jupiter is kind of like non-present in terms of this fight. Like he is there, he does stuff, but it's like he doesn't really accomplish anything in his task. He doesn't really give his thoughts on speeding up. He's kind of there as a presence. And something that a lot of people also mention is the fact that he seems to have been like the only one that has actually saved, or at least give humans a chance to survive, kind of deal, with him sucking CP agents and then sending them in a direction where they can actually be saved, or at least have a better chance of surviving than just straight plummeting to the ground. So it's kind of a fairy thing, but Jupiter at least now seems to be acting, so it's not like one of those things where Jupiter is completely just like, I'm helping kind of deal. He's at least more active here, and he does destroy the and he does manage to destroy MF's arm, eat MF's arm. And then as he's eating MF's arm, we have Saturn like running on top of Peter as he tells him, "Great work, Peter! I will continue doing this and destroying the Megapunk's message. We'll destroying Megapunk's message. I will handle with Bonnie and Kuma." So we have him climbing and then jumping off to get on the Albert ship. So he's like, again, "Oh, you two are fucking going down," as Bonnie and Kuma in danger, because he really wants to destroy those two out of all of the characters, out of all of the people present. So yeah, those two are. So yeah, Saturn is not on board on the Albert ship, and then we cut back to into the sky, where we have Venus Zoro being like, "So you plan on sacrificing yourself for them? How foolish!" As then Atlas tells him that it's not sacrifice, it's a service, as they are in the air. And while obviously Atlas cannot really do much, she does blow herself up to for Venus Joe to regenerate a bit, and to give an extra boost to the Sunny, so they will be able to get to to a safer area, because that was like the thing that Liv mentioned, like they cannot leave because they will not make it if their precision is not perfect. And with this little boost, they are already so in this boost they're able to get to the destination perfectly, so they're not in danger of dying. As Atlas blows up, as then we have York celebrating that Atlas is dead. Previously she was happy that Lilith died, because they think that Lilith is dead because she's no longer connected, but now Atlas has died, so now she's happy that in fact she's the only Vegapunk left. As then we have VSO saying not yet. It's unclear if he knows that Lilith isn't dead, because like that's the thing about this. Like you could say that he's aware that Lilith is not dead, but I don't think he saw Lilith. Like I know that, like if I remember correctly, I think he was charging into the Sunny But then Zoro immediately went in to block it. So he probably so it's hard to say if he would actually saw Lilith and knew that she was there or not. But even so, with all the chaos, you could probably make a case that she probably died some other way or something else. But maybe this is gonna be like a big reveal at the end of the end of the arc that like Venus Joe is aware that she's on the ship, so he kills her that way. You know, like one of those things where you think he's referring to one thing, but it's actually referring to another thing. Because as Venus Joe is saying that, I believe it's Jupiter. Well, not Jupiter. It's Top Man Valkyrie who says, "Not yet, not until that fucking Denden Mushi in that Iron Giant is destroyed. That's not until they destroy that. Vegapunks are not. It's not done over with Vegapunk." As Jupiter agrees with him, as he and Top Man uh, just sort of oppose MF. Like we get a little bit of a scale. Like MF is already a really big robot, but these two are like double his size. Like the hawk form that Top Man has is like double, is like two MFs, while Jupiter's Doom Sandworm is like four times that size. So yeah, they're really big and they're kind of getting ready to destroy Emma. Probably Jupiter's just gonna eat him or something. As then we have MF thinking that he should that he kind of acknowledges that he's helpless in this state, that he's too rusty, he can't really do much more to help. So he thinks it would be for the best if he uses his last resort, or says that he will do the last resort. Now, I think there's a little bit of a translation issue. What exactly MF says, it seems to be said like in a way that he's asking if he should use the last resort, which is probably gonna be a self-destruct button or something. I don't know. Really, we're just gonna have him reveal something, or if it's gonna be something different. We have to wait and see. But regardless, MF thinks that he should use it because in this instance, that's kind of the only thing he can do. It. He already lost an arm, and the arm doesn't look like it's gonna be doing much better. So yeah, MF is now probably gonna do a self-destruct thing in a couple of chapters. I know for the fact it's on the next chapter, but pretty soon he's gonna do it. So yeah, anyways, then we cut back to the message the Vegapunk had as he starts talking about the general information about the treasure again. And this time he mentions the fact that Gold D Roger, which as you remember, the world knows Roger as Gold Roger, but his real name is Gold D Roger, which was mentioned, I believe, in Drum Kingdom, which is kind of a crazy thing to think that it's not until this arc that the world knew Roger's full name, while we had his full name for like, I want to say, was it almost 20 years now? Maybe more. If I'm One Piece came out in before 2000s, so around the beginning of 2000s is probably when it was revealed. So it's kind of crazy to think how big of a gap this is. Like, no joke, I could very likely be younger than the reveal of Roger's full true name. And the world is just now finding out Roger's real name. So, yeah, that is kind of information that tells you how much old information Vegapunk is telling to the world, or to information that's old to us. So yeah, we have the world find out about Roger's full name. Although Vegapunk is not explaining Roger's true name, he just says it, and then people are like, "Wait, he said Goldie?" So yeah, and then we end this chapter off with Vegapunk saying that he's gonna give his view on the future, what could happen. I think it's on the lines of, since I already gave you undeniable facts, I suppose I can also tell you what from all this information, I'm kind of processing, because, to at least give you kind of a basis of what you could be looking into the future, at least get some kind of idea, but not to change your views on it, just general information. So we had the chapter on that, and again, like, this information is not really anything crazy, especially if you believe the next things for the spoilers for the next chapter. But regardless, that's the end of One Piece, and now we get to Chain Soldier, chapter 136, titled gathering, which is okay, it's an accurate chapter. It's like one of those chapters that actually is what is happening in the story, and it's not just referring to like one moment in this chapter. But it's kind of funny because like the second group this gathering could be referring to is not even complete. It's like half of them. I mean, but it's five, so it's like one of those like, what is a five in a half in a five? Like, is it a three? Is it like 2 out of 5, or is it 3 out of 5? But regardless, we start this talk about like the proposition and the surrender that the eight gods told to Ran, and Ran now wants every captain's opinion, and we basically go through every captain's opinion. We have Kyoka giving her opinion, saying that she clashed with all of them, and they are not people they can trust. They are definitely humanity's enemies, which, I mean, it's just a personal take, but does anyone else feel like the eight gods of thunder only want to destroy humanity because they were created to destroy humanity? Like, legitimately speaking, it feels like they're more designed for that purpose than actually personal interests and wills. I mean, just saying, like, they do seem to just be created for that very purpose. And then we have Valvera being the simp that she is, so she obviously agrees with her and even brings up the whole love, Shangri-La Fath incident with him pretending to be Belle and attack and them attacking them, so they very much cannot trust them. And throughout these conversations, Ren does kind of give her remarks like, yes, you are correct, they did attack us multiple times, so we should probably be a bit more careful about how we proceed with negotiations. Then we go on to Mira, who gives us her thoughts. And I'm kind of also assuming the way these character opinions are also kind of supposed to reflect where they could be siding in the future a bit, and viewing them where they side exactly. As we have Mia saying, I like the proposition, and I would definitely say these gods are the people we can reason with. We can go along with them. Like, they are not, unlike Shokai, I can see us going to like a bar and having a drink, because like that's she remembers Kusetsu, who I believe before Kusetsu absorbed Mira, there was like that kind of moment of respect between the two. Like, I can respect you and Tamp. I can acknowledge that if it wasn't for me using the civilians as hostages, you could beat me. So it's kind of like one of those things where, like I said, it's the god saying that the gods are unreasonable or unable to be like with humans is ridiculous. It's more the desire to destroy humanity that seems to be more the issue. That's more the issue. So, but Mira points out, yeah, we can go with that, but if they use that and we leave them an opening, those lives will be our fault that they lost. Like, it does not matter if they kill because we left an opening. It is our fault. So again, Rand does agree with it. Like, we'll get into why Rand is so agreeable in the little bit in the middle of the chapter. Then we have Belle's getting thoughts, and she also is like more. I would say she's the most on Rand's side about like how this is a wonderful proposal. This could be a very peaceful solution. It would be for the best, since like regardless of how you feel about that, it's not like the fights with the gods. Even though they win, they do leave a lot of damage and a lot of scars. So Belle knows more than anyone else about how damaging the gods are. So she does kind of want to go with that. Then we have Fubuki, who takes a more she takes a more neutral route, where she's like, all right, if we negotiate, we should probably learn more stuff, and verifying the information will be trouble. Which again, Ren agrees they'll probably need time to get the information and all that, so they could probably like, since technically the gods are surrendering, they can kind of like get more of their stuff. Like, they can definitely take advantage of their negotiations. They can definitely get stuff. They could definitely like take their advantage. Which, okay, technically their advantage is just the fact that the gods seem to plan surrender. It's not like you really can threaten that. Like, if they ask Shinoko something too much that she cannot reveal, or something that they are placing their bets on, Shinako can just like reveal that's a copy and then just fucking bail. Like she has a teleportation ability. Like she's a snake. She can get away, and you would be on back to square zero, to square one. So it's not like you have that much advantage. It's just in these like negotiations about peace is that where you have advantage. So yeah. Anyways, after Fubuki, we did have Yakume, who has honestly the best plan, and from what we've seen of the gods, probably like the most of an actual way to bring peace towards this whole conflict, and that is for Yukume to have a hot spring date with them. As we see her holding Shinoku and Jurune, because those are the only two that they actually know of. They don't know Naohime or Taikyo. They have no idea about their appearances, so she has them. And we have Tanka and Kyoka be like, you, even in this situation, you're like this. Which, again, it's actually pretty. This is a really good way to get to the gods. Like, I really would like to imagine how the gods would react to this very its own concept. Because I feel like Shinobu literally made a hot spring for herself and stripped down during the start of these negotiations or the first or proposing that. So it's not unlikely. Honestly, I would not be surprised if one of the gods even like that one that Yukime is the smartest person in this room. Like I could honestly, this is just a personal headcanon about Naohime, but I would imagine that she would tell all the characters, Ran, Kyoka, and all them to shut up. But you, the purple highlighted one girl, the girl, you may speak. You're the only one with a brain here, even though Yukime is the most perverted and dumbest one in the group. Like I don't think it's controversial to say that Yukime is an idiot. But yeah, after this, then Ren asks Konomi for her thoughts, and Konomi being the youngest is just like, I like the proposition. Again, like, basically it goes, Ren wants the proposition because it benefits her. Kyoka and Varvara are completely against this proposition. I think Tanka also gives her thoughts, and her thoughts are also like a bit more of a concern. I missed Tanka's thoughts. My apologies. Basically, Tanka's thoughts on this situation are: you believe that you can take down every trap, but what could these traps be? These aren't some terrorists. These are not traps we can predict. As far as we know, these traps could be deadly. Even if you can defeat them, what can you do exactly? And Tanka, even I think it was the first one who brought up like they should be getting information and things together. So yeah, Tanka is pretty much on Kyoka and Varvara's side, but she sides with Kyoka and Varvara, but also wants to be more neutral and more concerned in this instance. Mira agrees with the proposal, but is very worried if they screw up, because they cannot trust them completely. Bell is pretty much on Ren's side. Konoma agrees with the proposal, but is for more of a position of it's a good way to end the conflict. Fubuki is more concerned about the logistic and the information you'll be getting. And then we have Yukome, who is just a pervert. It really does make me wonder how her fight with Naohime will go, because like Naohime has this whole thing about how she seems to be like more about how gods should act, so it does make me kind of wonder how her more serious will go with Yukume's more perverted side. And then how will Yukome kill someone if she wants to fuck them? But that's a future idea we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, anyways, Ren thinks that she can handle everything. The people at the top, the ministers, and I'm assuming the people who also will vote on the next chief want the proposal, like they want their greediness because they're greedy, and so they won't take it because again, Ren is confident. Like again, Ren's issue is it's not that she cannot like back her words. It's more that she doesn't consider everyone else is not her. She's like overconfident. And Kyoka and Tanka already kind of knew that this was going to happen as soon as they were in this conversation. Like, it's clear that this is just a formality thing. It's like just up for the sake of looking like they are negotiating and actually taking it seriously, while in reality she still plans on going with it regardless of what they say. Like even if all the chiefs were no, Ran would have went, give some BS explanation why, and go along with it. And then both Tanka and Kyoka, it kind of looks like they're talking psychically in this instance, where they're like, the only way they can stop this is by having Kyoka win in the next election, which, to be fair, if you do say no to the proposal, what exactly is Kyoka planning? Like, that's the thing I'm actually kind of curious on. How exactly does Kyoka plan on getting rid of Meito? Like, does she plan on having all the spatial ability, the Meito Peach's ability users come together with a bunch of researchers and working to find a way so they can close the gates? Because like that's the only way I can see it. Because like again, like what exactly would you do if you don't? Like we just spent entire nights looking for people. Where you just spent have now looking for them 24/7. Like you know they can fucking sneak around her ability. Even if you maximize Belle's ability, you may not be able to get anything. So what exactly are you planning? But regardless, Kyoka, they pretty much decide that Kyoka needs to win the election, which again I'm assuming it's gonna come down to the rest of the people because I'm at, like again this is my thing about like it seems like the election is straight up a voting process because power wise I'm kind of down they would have any hope at beating Ran if it was like a fair like 1v1 tournament. So I am legitimately curious on how exactly this is gonna go and how the election is gonna process, but that's later. But regardless, Ran does something weird about, and she actually asks Yuki for his opinion. You know, if he's here, he might as well also give us an opinion. I mean, he is just as valid, which is something that characters mention. Like Yuki also clashed with them. He pretty much clashed with all the gods, so it would make sense that he should know about the gods better than most of them, honestly. And Yuki just straight up tells them, yeah, do not trust gods. They are your enemies. Which is kind of a harsh way to say about it, especially when he says so seriously. But then you remember that he's gonna be sleeping with two of them tonight, so it's kind of a fun, thing. Honestly, I'm not entirely convinced that he just doesn't want to continue fighting them, so he could have them all live in his room, so they could sleep together all night long, or in his mind. But regardless, Yuki says that, and then we cut away from it. So, and we have like Ran giving a little smirk. So I'm not entirely certain if this is supposed to mean that Ran might actually change her opinion to like show a bit of a character growth. Like she trusts Yuki, so she'll take his opinion more seriously, or if this is just if this is just gonna continue normally. The way that gods react to this comment doesn't seem like they are really something weird happens, or like, oh, this is not gonna make Shinokune happy. But regardless, they are saying that Yuki does know them really well. I do wonder if this means that Yuki is kind of aware that they seem to just be created to destroy humanity or not, or nothing more. But it's not really clear. As then we have they are talking about their desire to destroy humanity and how that's kind of thing they want to do the most. But they do mention that Yuki is an exception to that rule. And they seem to all be in this agreement. Ryan doesn't comment on it. I believe Fukuma is the one that said that. Kusetsu doesn't comment about. They all seem to agree. Yuki is an exception. The rest of the humanity can die. Which again, which is kind of an interesting thing. It does make me wonder if this means that Yuki might be an unofficial god, or could very likely be a god of thunder at this point because he has the power of the other three. So it's more of a there is six gods of thunder. It's just Yuki is not aware that he could be counted, which makes you wonder: is Shino going to find that out that he can be? I don't know. We have to wait until like the next interaction between a god and Yuki if he finds out. Like I could totally imagine like Shinoku like trying to bounce on him and then be like, "Human, why am I sensing my siblings' souls in you?" I could see something like that. I can always see like a chapter ending this way, where her realizing that they are inside of him and then wondering about that. So we'll find out if that's how this is gonna go. But regardless, right now God's like Yuki, so we'll find out what exactly if there's something deeper from that. Then we cut to our base that the gods of thunder have, where we have Shinoko, Jurune, and Shinoku and Jakun together, who are pro- basically revealing to us what the trap here is, because everyone kind of knew it was a trap, but it's like one of those things where, oh, it's a trap, but let's be honest, if we don't take this trap on, then there's like no benefit at all. So Shino, so they're all kind of going through this information as Shinoku's like very confident they will go along with that. That Ran has a lot of ego, so she'll definitely think there's nothing they can do. She'll definitely view this as they all have the advantage and they'll be able to do with everything. And Jakun mentions that Shinoku will be very busy with these negotiations, since a lot of the plan hinges on her being able to talk with all the politicians and all that, which she probably can, but I do feel like there will be more involvement. Like I imagine the first meeting with the negotiations will go perfectly with just her, but then they'll demand like if they want official, all five need to be present, all of them. And they generally want to talk about like general information about appearances, their power sets, and stuff like that. So I imagine they will try to get as much battle information as they can. And I imagine they would also invite all five because if you want peace, we need all five of you leaders here. So yeah, I imagine that was going to happen later, but right now it seems until they're just going to be heavily relying on Shinoko being there. And Jakun says, alright, that's what you need to do, and I'll do my part, which is making a curse. As Jakun is doing goes all witch on us as he is boiling something in the pot as we find out that the curse that he used on the devotees, I think it's the one that killed them once they failed their mission, so they will not leak any information out. I think that's what he's doing. He mentions that one specifically. It was created after he became a God of Thunder, so it was like, it's very beta stage. And right now he's doing some cutting about this curse, so he could. I'm not certain if this is meant to be taken like they're gonna be putting it all the peaches inside, so everyone is gonna become a bomb like the curse warning spell that Magical had in Black Clover, or if this is gonna be something else, because the way they talked about it is like it shouldn't affect Ran, it should not kill her, but everyone else will die from it. Which makes me kind of think it's like one of those things where it's like everyone else becomes a bomb while Ran would just be able to handle the explosions. I'm guessing it's at least not a thing where it's like triggered by someone else. At least that's my interpretation of this curse. Because again, like if this is something that just affects everyone who has a peach ability, I don't know why Ran, despite her power, wouldn't be able to be affected by it or be killed by it. Because again, the gods do acknowledge that Ran is powerful in this chapter. She's a little too powerful for her own good, kind of deal. So again, I'm not entirely sure how we are supposed to be interpreting this curse, and Jakun does mention this curse will add like a lot of room to grow. Which now makes me kind of wonder exactly what is Jakun, because in this chapter he also kind of goes his views on the fact that his siblings have died. So he has like this very angry expression. I think we see his true face underneath his helmet because he has like this very futuristic robotic helmet on, and it's usually kind of like like a the kind of digital villain kind of expression on, but this time it looks like we go inside it with no fake face on it, but his like real face that looks like to be, I want to say, a skull head, which would not be a big thing because we know Shukai pretty much have skull faces, especially in the anime. They're very much skulls for faces, so it's not weird. It's just that I don't know. I'm getting the impression that Jakun is supposed to have existed before he became a god, similar to how Kusetsu wasn't a god before she absorbed those two hybrids. I feel like that's kind of it. Same goes for Jakun, but I feel like Jakun was the intelligent, was making stuff beforehand, and most of the Shuka that we see don't really have much of in terms of up there. So it makes me kind of wonder if what Jakun exactly is, because like is he a human male that was just really intelligent and was managed to create a lot of shit with the information got from Meito that they recruited after a while? I mean, I'm assuming they did recruit stuff beforehand, especially since it's revealed that Jakku made the curse as soon as he became the god, but it's not really clear if he was experimenting on beforehand. So what exactly is Jakun? But regardless, I think we're gonna get a reveal. Like regardless of how, because this is like this thing where it's like who's going to win lose now, because like Ran is really arrogant, so she will lose and have to get her like her pride is going to have to be her fall. But then you have the villains revealing their plan, so you think they're gonna fail. So is it gonna be like a thing with the villains' main plan about blowing everything up failing, or is it but they will end up beating Ran, or what? Where are we going with this exactly? Maybe it's gonna be a thing where they're gonna beat Ran beforehand, because right now they seem to be planning on beating Ran after they kill everyone, which is again like kind of a weird thing because like I mean, okay, this is a really big thing about it's my problem when it comes to gods. Like, how powerful are they supposed to be in terms of like how do they scale themselves? Because they mentioned a day of purification. Now it may not be a thing, something that's possible anymore because they have 3 missing slots. So it doesn't matter if the day comes faster. It's going to be they're not going to be able to power boost through because they are missing seeds. But would they be able to defeat Ram before that? But then we have the fact that the 3 who should know the most amount of Ran's abilities, being Kyosetsu, Fukume, and Ryan, all had the same opinion that Taikyo could just slaughter everyone. So it's kind of a weird thing, and the way that Shinoku talks about Ran in this chapter makes it kind of sound like she herself could beat her once the dust is settled, because again, like, I could imagine being like something like, oh, we are not concerned about fighting Ran and being able to beat her. It would be a 50-50, if anything else, but if everyone else comes helping her, then it's gonna be more of an issue. So, what exactly are we viewing this? And again, like, I do have to wonder if there is, like, if these 3 are gonna be defeated now or if later, because, like, again, since we seem to get a lot of focus on Jakun, I could see him being defeated. I could also see like Shinoku finally falling down. Like Taiko and Naohime are the 2 odd ones out because Taiko is the bad bitch, but she doesn't really do much. She just seems to be the most powerful one, but is relatively uninvolved. And Naohime is just nowhere to be found. So where is the stance on those 2? But regardless, the plan right now seems to be both Shinoku and Meito's those plans are gonna fail at some point. We just have to wait and see how this unfolds, and if this is gonna be like a major thing right now, if it's gonna be a couple arcs later until we actually get this getting a payoff. Because it seems like we're again hanging very much in the election angle. But anyways, then we have Chain. After Chain Soldier, we have Chainsaw Man, Chapter 171, titled Special Division 5. I would just call it Fathers, but if you want to call it Special Division 5, you can do you. So yeah, anyways, we start this chapter off with everyone still just being shocked at Naruta's hat. As then we have Danjima saying, Naruto. As then we have Asa, Kobani's brother, and the other guy being like, wait, that's Naruto? Oh no. Which I think, actually no, I think Asa's memory about Naruto was erased, so she has no idea how Naruto looks like, so she probably wouldn't compete. But regardless, she is, but then Naruto is, well, they basically are shocked and horror at this, as then Baron's like, yeah, this seems like surpassing a certain level of evil, but to save the world and all that, and Baron, please stop it. Like, I mean, I get it. You people value the life of the world more than one girl. I get it. The needs of the many outweigh the needs of a few. But Baron, you quite literally are showing a 10-year-old girl's head to her brother to break him completely. You're the last person who should have, at this point, you're surpassing necessary evil and going straight up douchebaggery evil. Honestly, I feel like if you just waited long enough, Naruto would probably him just not finding Naruto would be enough to have him go insane. Anyways, but thankfully, Denji goes full chainsaw devil on his ass as he turns into that state that he was in when he fought Makama. Or, well, he's starting to transform into that state while he's like grabbing him by the throat and he's with his one hand ripping his head and neck off. Which honestly, I don't know what you would expect about this point with everything you've done to Denji this point. Like, you deserve this. Like, what exactly were you expecting? So Baron's head is thrown off and it goes away as Denji reverts to his devil form and is back in it. As while he's just going to that state, we have Euro taking over Asa's body, which some state remind me that whenever they are scared or have a big shock, it seems that, well, whenever that happened to Asa, she returned back to normal even if Euro was in charge beforehand. So in this state, it's similar here, but this time it's Euro who got so scared of Chainsaw Man that she kind of that she took over Asa's body. I also imagine it might be some trauma from her previous experience, like one of those things. Yes, I'll do it, I'll do it, I'll do it, I'll get my payback, I'll get my revenge. But then you actually come face to face, and it's like you're traumatized by it. So I could start to see you're just being traumatized by it. But anyways, after that we then have the fan, well, the Devil Prevention Force, the Devil Security Force, or whatever those guys are, those douches. At that kind of point, yes, Denji is back into that full chainsaw form. Division, I think 1 is like reporting to Division 3, and Division 3 is like, yeah, good, we'll block up the premiere of Division 5, it's all up to you. As then we get Division 5, we get the group that this chapter is named after, which we have like a bunch of, I'm going to assume they are meant to be fiends. Maybe 1 or 2 of them could be considered devils, but so far they seem to just be fiends. Where we have like one fiend that's like a girl, that's like a dark skinned girl that has like a bunch of holes around her face. Then we see like one girl that has like an alligator. Half of her hat is an alligator, which is the reason why I'm thinking mostly are meant to be taken as fiends. Then we have one guy who has like no face but has like giant ears. Then we have one guy who looks. I have people compare him to Maharaga from Jujutsu Kaisen, but it's human. But if Maharaga was human, and then we get another girl who is who has her mouth open like this, uh, but she has like a weird cow that has spikes coming off her, and there are theories that these 5 are meant to be some kind of like sensory devils, like they take away your senses or something like that. But because like one has ears, one has like a very unique skin, and one has no eyes or stuff like that. Generally, like, that's kind of the one has like tongue, mouth open, and just in general stuff like this. And I'll be honest, I do feel bad about these fiends. Like, this guy even reminds them that if you want human rights, if you want futures, you will have to succeed here in keeping Chainsaw Man at bay. But what can these fiends do? I don't even think these are devils, and fiends are like the bottom pole in terms of like power scale. Like, yes, you have weak devils that can be killed by fiends, but generally speaking, I would say, well, I don't think it was ever stated. I imagine if a fiend is power, if the devil is powerful, the fiend itself is gonna be powerful enough to take down a bunch of like weak devils. But if a fiend is even weaker devil, then the fiend's also gonna be weaker. Like, I mean, granted, we don't have like a good scale. Like, we don't have a devil and the same type of devil being a fiend to scale. Like, power, we haven't seen. I don't think we can really scale power to her devil form fully, but I think you can generally say that power as a blood devil was a lot stronger than when she was a fiend. But regardless, how you feel about like these guys are just screwed. Like, these guys don't even want, like, honestly, I would be happier if it's like one of those things where all of the agents die, but these 5 are like Uh, what do we do? Should we help? And then he just gets spared. Or maybe even better yet, they be, actually there's like a little end of this chapter when we're getting kind of introduction and told what these fiends all want and all that. And this guy who's their leader is like telling them if they want this, they have to do this for them. Says they have to succeed this time, and so they'll be moving up into the Operation Capture contain Chainsaw Man. But there's like a final page is like done in this like weird way where it kind of looks like it's clear this is like not the same place. Like you have Chainsaw Man looking like he's in the middle of a building or like one level floor above a building, as the building is already cut to ribbons and destroyed. While they seem to be walking away from him, but in reality, it's like they're walking towards the building. It's just like weirdly done. But I would honestly prefer it if it's like revealed, like a little joke about before they even came to the scene. Chainsaw Devil was already away, so it's like, ah, we were a bit far away, huh? All right, or maybe that's gonna be like a thing. Like this guy manages like he's gotta treat them to boost if they succeed and all that. But then he like sees like a feed from that Chainsaw Devil and is like, actually, you know what? I think we'll go on boost right now because he's like, there is like this is just impossible. I would love it. I would love it if we have like another Doctor fourth wall joke or being the smartest character moment. You know how like those doctors were like, we've seen nothing without being even need to be addressed or told to even looked at, and they already read the room. I would love it if the same thing happens here, where the guy doesn't even need to like, doesn't even need just sees this if something just do something. It's like, nope, 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 nope. This is stupid. This is foolish. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculously unfair. Wish it would make sense, but because we have to wait and see on that side. So yeah, that's the end of the chapter, and we have to wait and see if this is gonna be a slaughter or if it's just gonna be a joke where they leave as soon as they see how fucking doomed they are. But anyways, now on to the final chapter of this week, being Ruri Dragon Chapter 70, titled Let's Draw Some Attention. Yeah, it gets to I think this is like an odd focus chapter. It's not. It's about joining the student council, as we have Ruri and Maida meeting the two leaders of this whole event. The average principal. I think it's like what's it called? Like, is it? I know it's some kind of title. President, I think it is. I think president and vice president or something like that. As the two, as they first start off with talking more casual about it because they haven't ate yet. So Ruri and Maya start eating a bit, and they are in cafeteria. So they talked a bit, and then the vice president asks Ruri about her dragoness because Ruri does because again like she doesn't know. I imagine everyone knew is constantly talking about Ruri's dragon, Perez because like she literally has horns and eyes that look like dragons. So, anyways, then we get like a little explanation of how sports committee works, about how like you have two people selected to represent every class in the school event to do their sports things, and they thought that uh, they're basically committee chairs and all that, and that's what the position they are kind of needing to fill, and they thought that Mardo and Uri could be excellent at their job because they kind of shown them proved themselves yesterday with them kind of working so diligently and so quickly so Ruri could go uh, to her friends soon. Which makes me think that's kind of the reason why they were taking so long to build it, because like remember this was like I think it was like late at night or like approaching nighttime when they were still doing it, and they were doing a lot. So it makes me kind of think this might have been like a bit of a task to see exactly who could they find for replacement, since that's kind of like immediately afterwards. So the current people that are in chairs are probably also the one will probably already inform them that they can't do it, so they're probably just using them for that. So they're probably just testing out to see who could be used as a replacement. As they kind of ask this, as they see that the two who were originally planned, one was really quiet, to a point you can't even hear. Like she tried to challenge herself, but she can barely speak to anyone, be able to hear her. While the other guy got down with a cold or something, and he's unable to like speak normally, so he'll probably be out of it for a while. And they even told him like, go to home and rest a bit, dude. We don't blame you. Just please go rest. So the two of them are currently incapable of doing it, and so they want them to just be assistants. So they asked Maida and Rui because they prove themselves. And Maida's all for it because she wants to do the whole mic thing, and being the one who does the announcement. She like wants the attention there. And Rui doesn't want to do it because he's not really the type of person who wants attention, and that kind of surprises the vice chair because she was so proactive yesterday as well as trying to learn everyone's names, which might makes a little bit of comment about it. But Rui's like, well, you said I should learn everyone's names, so writing them down, asking them and writing them down would probably be the best way for me to learn them. So yeah, Rui doesn't want to do it, and so, but regardless, after some more talking about it, Rui does relent and she does agree to being the chair. I mean, she doesn't need to. They say that it could just be one with those two as assistants, but they decided to go with it. So Rui and Maida are now the speakers, as well as the fact that, I mean, let's be honest, also, Rui, you're gonna take attention regardless of you're there in the center of it or not. You're a fucking dragon. And it's assuming nothing happens. Like, just saying, like, there's no omnious statement about it, like, outside of maybe, Rui's mother wanted to talk to her about something when she came home yesterday. But from what we know, there is nothing. But from what we know, nothing is gonna happen. Assuming. Like, I would not be surprised if Rui's father or someone else shows up from her father's dragon clan and enters. But regardless, that's speculation for the next chapter, which I think is gonna be in 2 weeks' time or next week or week after this one. So, well, next one. But regardless, anyways, I hope you like these reactions. I hope you leave your thoughts on these chapters in the comments below and tell me what you also read this week. And yeah, and don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel for more videos in the future. And with that said, I cannot wait to see all of you mortals next time. Goodbye.